what the rights of the unknowns are, what the degree to which police can get involved in issues. So I wanted to introduce Captain Hendricks and turn it over to him. He's becoming more and more familiar with our neighborhood every day and is familiar with some of these issues, and then we'll do some Q&A. Okay, thank you. Good evening, everybody. I want to start by thanking the board for inviting us over here because I really would like to get to meet everybody. I've been at the Civic since December, so I'm still kind of fresh over here. I know some of you people have been working in West Valley, so my last studio assignment was Valley, and prior to that I worked 10 other assignments. So your typical cookie cutter LAPD captain coming about 26 years on the department. You're trying to figure out what my age is. I got the department when I was 10 years old. So glad to be out here. It's kind of a cool assignment. You get to be the beach captain for LAPD, so all the other captains are a little jealous. They want this job. So I'm glad to be here. Glad to come out and meet you guys. So one of the first decisions I had to make was you guys had been without a senior lead officer, Jennifer Lab. She promoted out last year, so I'm really happy about the decision I made with Carl Villeray. He's been a veteran at Pacific 2 times. You've been here for what, 8 years? 10 years. 10 years. I shorted it to 2 years. Anyway, he's been one of your primary points of contact. Also, Javier Ramirez.
He got promoted.
He is not a senior lead officer. He's been here for a while, so you guys may already know him, so I'm going to give him a chance to talk. But before that, I want to talk about some of the crime initiatives. We've kind of changed the tactics in which we address our crime issues. I'm not talking about homeless, because homelessness is not a crime in itself. But we're talking about crime issues, and we've gotten a little more active on it than we've seen our officers out on the street. So far this year, in comparison to last year, right now we're sitting at an 18.4% reduction in crime. I know you don't see it every day, but hopefully over the next year, you guys will slowly see incremental improvements. There's always going to be some amount of crime no matter where you live. But we're trying to make a difference, and incrementally we can improve things out here where you can reduce your incidence of crime. So I hope over the year we make a difference. And part of the way you guys can help out in making this difference is we're going to reach out to you guys. My objective in fighting crime is keeping police officers on the street doing things that police officers do. The way I can do that best is if I pull them out of administrative positions, and I only have so much to staff. So what I asked the committee, and I've got a lot of cooperation in my previous assignment, is I'm looking for volunteers. If you have time, we're looking for people who have any type of skills. We will find a job for you. If you have time, you feel loved at home, need some we got a job for you.
It's awesome.
All right, guys?
It's awesome.
To do what?
Anything. You know what? We got admin. I want to form a volunteer community control. Talk about traffic issues. One thing we did my last assignment was you got volunteer community members that said, hey, we're tired of people speeding up and down our streets. Can we get involved? I can't allow you to write tickets, but what I can do, I know you would love to. Yeah. And sometimes I feel like when I'm off duty, I wish I had a ticket book and I could pull people over. But what I can do is provide you training, send you to our radar or laser school, equip you with those devices, send you out with an officer, and I can have you shoot radar or laser on the street. And what we do is we're not going to write a ticket off of it, but what we do is we get the license plate and we send a letter to the registered owner and say that, hey, on this date and time, you were seen speeding 60 miles per hour in a 30 mile per hour zone. And when somebody gets that letter at home, it puts that on notice. So I know it's not the same effective as a ticket, but we were able to slow down traffic in the last assignment and achieve a 7% reduction in accidents.
That's pretty good.
I'm a little concerned because we've had 2 motor vehicle versus pedestrian accidents in this area in 2 weeks, 2 fatals. So we need to slow the traffic down. People need to drive respectfully. We need to get rid of that sense of lawlessness. So that's one of the things that we can. I got a full list of other jobs. If you guys are interested, come let us know. We will send out volunteer applications. Matthew, thank you.
At one of our first meetings, it became clear that several residents had difficulty reporting crimes. So, I wondered if you could address that. I think officers to actually set up a one-time table here at Tenmar at a day following the meeting where residents we put the word out and residents could come and report things. And it was a response to some people saying that it took an hour to report a crime. So I was wondering if there was, maybe that's a volunteer position,
Yeah, sure. That is something that volunteers can help out with. Since last year, a couple things have changed in the department. So Pacific area is one of LAPD's business divisions. We are number 2 out of 21 divisions in terms of radio call and radio call. So it's a long process. We're trying to improve our deployment. We get more officers out from this area. We've been working on it with our Office of Operations. So we're going to determine how many police officers we have each area. So it sounds like we're going to get a little bit more police officers.
Awesome.
But something that I'm going to throw out to you. I understand it's like a low priority crime. If you're a victim of crime, every crime is important to you. Whether it's if your window got broken or somebody can fight outside your car, it's important to you. We understand that. But they're prioritized and all the hot shot calls where somebody's immediate safety is in question. Those are going to get prioritized. So I understand that sometimes you get stuck waiting for an officer to respond to your call, trying to take a report. So the department created an online reporting system. It's called SOURCE. Community online reporting system where you can be on the internet. It's kind of like self-guided. If your car was broken into or something, we have certain property crimes in which you can go onto that system and you can fill out. It's very simple. I tried doing it myself, but I didn't finish it and submit it because I didn't want to create another crime against my own division.
Salute. Appreciate you.
But that is one of the options, and if there really is an interest in us coming out and setting that up, we can have officers do it, and I would love to be volunteers for that.
Well, he did actually do it. He said, I think he did it. He did do it. He did
Okay,
say
right
he
here.
was charged. And
Yeah,
people lined up and he took police.
Yeah, we could do that.
And that was
But
when
more
the
just
process
officer
was open and we were having a very high incident at times. Since then it's closed, but it's about to reopen.
Hi, I've had a lot of interaction with you guys in the last couple months. I've got to say, I have a history of pretty negative contact, not with you guys per se. It's part of my PTSD. I want to definitely give you guys public commendation. The patrol has been, especially with the demographic. I'm in the bad demographic. I'm in one of the craziest buildings. More than impressive, the way that you guys do respond for me, and the service to be able to interact with you guys with the demographic you're dealing with is crazy. My one kind of suggestion, I guess, or concern would be is like, the motor vehicle thing had changed. We have so many ordinances, and I understand you guys are getting inundated with it. If there was a way possibly that we could source for ourselves what's kind of current, where things are changing, because I got caught in the situation where I found out when I met Officer Villery at the greet, literally it was like right then that they had just switched the motor vehicle thing and they cut off and I had been chasing this one thing for like 3 months. Is there a place that we can kind of keep up to date with what the newer, because elsewise you guys are going to get inundated with, at least I use 311 and I use communications before I call Pacific and start ragging on you guys. But you guys are going to continue to get inundated with those kind of questions, and there's so much entitlement around here is what I see. So there's a way that we could kind of track that a little bit for ourselves.
I'll jump ahead of that question and I'll answer that.
Awesome.
So there's several resources. At the end of the night, you're going to have my information.
You don't want that.
No,
I'm kidding.
Actually, that's our job.
No, I appreciate it.
You're going to have our email address,
For sure.
our phone number. Feel
For sure.
free to call. That's your best resource. Not only for information, but also, you always hear the neighbor that perhaps had a suspect break into their house and hold them at gunpoint. It's kind of like a rumor that goes around and it spreads like wildfire.
Yeah, no, I'm the rumor.
Yes, so the best way to squash that rumor is contact one of your senior lead officers. We'll put a stop to it. We'll give you the straight facts and how it was, straight from the horse's mouth,
Awesome.
per se. Second way is in the back. I left a bunch of resources. I'll go over them at some point tonight. But there's a resource, a pamphlet with a lot of information specific to the parking situation. Your best resources would be the Department of Transportation.
For sure.
You can call them. They have a 1-800 24-hour number. One's for abandoned vehicles. The other one's for information. Give them a call. Ask them what's the deal with that. My understanding is the vehicle dwelling orders, is that what you were referring to earlier?
Yeah, it was the 85.2, and then they changed that, and they're back on 3-day, but now DOT says that they're they'll do it if they don't feel scared of the occupant. And I'm like, yo, she's like tiny as a little blonde girl, but still the build.
Yeah, so
so
when
it's
it comes
hard.
to the Department of Transportation, they deal with the vehicle situation only.
Right.
They don't deal with the human behavior.
No, yeah, I
We deal
completely.
with the human behavior. So we work hand in hand.
For sure.
In regards to 8502, it's sunset this past December.
Right.
So right now, it's not in effect, but my understanding, I just got further information from our district attorney.
Awesome.
It's sitting at city council for vote,
Dope.
and it should be approved or not
I
approved.
did vehicle dwelling, and I still think that that's super appropriate. Like, I totally think that that's an appropriate thing. So I appreciate you guys.
So it's a strong possibility that
Awesome.
it's going to be in effect soon.
Awesome.
So just
And again, it was more kind of trying to give other people those resources.
So right now, we're not enforcing 8502.
Awesome.
We are enforcing the 72-hour parking violation.
And all parking signage along whatever street you're talking about, that's enforceable.
Well, except for the over 20 and 7 foot one, that's a bad sign to be up. That's only good for commercial vehicles. And all the RVs are considered private vehicles, I found out. So
It all depends. What we're talking about, just to catch everybody else up, is parking restrictions and impound vehicles.
So thank you guys so much, though. Appreciate you guys a bunch.
Hi, I'm kind of new, I'm very new, and I know the big issues, I've lived here 25 years, and I don't want to go into the big ones, but I have a small one, thank you, it's huge. I live on Palms Boulevard, between Lincoln and Wall Road. People fly down that road like, it's like 70 miles an hour some days, whack them. How did we get speed bumps on that? I've been told that many years ago, I was told you had to get all your neighbors to agree to it. And I see all these little streets in this part.
Right, so I can,
You don't have to take
I can take that
on.
on. This came up, there is a, semi-annual application process for speed bumps. That's how they call them technically. Speed bumps. Yes. And the first deadline, there's a fixed set of resources, and there's a process. So you have to get in on the application date, which I believe this last cycle 5, was January 29th. Okay. The next one is in September.
Do I have to get my neighbors to?
Well, what happens is you put in the application, and everyone here can fact check me, correct me if I'm wrong. You go into the queue, and you have to meet certain criteria. So, for example, the street has to not be higher than a certain grade. There has to be a minimum number of cars that travel on the street, like per defined period. And once you pass that, then I think they have a feasibility tape that is laid down in terms of measuring congestion and speed. And then you're right, there is a point in the process where there's a confidential vote where each neighbor can express, I want these, I don't want these. And I believe you have to pass something like 66% of the block in order to qualify.
Same thing in Mail.
You got it, perfect. Good answer.
I'm going to leave my movie career.
And from what I understand, they have to pay for it.
I didn't know about that, about the funding.
According to my neighbors in the
Okay,
next block.
all right. But we will make everyone aware because of the, I think it was like 400 to 500 speed pumps or speed tables that were installed. The demand is high. And so you have to get in, those first couple of days. We will make sure everybody knows about the upcoming deadline. There was, to your point, Captain, the 2 fatalities that happened in the last 2 weeks. There is growing concern about speed, not just on Palms. I live on Palms too, so I
Gross.
It is Venice Boulevard, January an accident, a very bad accident with 3 other passengers. And I think the question came up, is there something that we can do, and which agency do we approach to, address the situation of the, high-speed traffic coming in towards the beach and coming out of
It's kind of like a racetrack on Venice Boulevard, that I think you guys probably know. And I was hit by a drunk driver slammed in the left turn lane. And that was on December 8th. And then mail day told me a few weeks later that another woman on the the truck was also totally on Venice Boulevard. And then Orson Bean was hit and killed on Venice Boulevard. We're all within this month and a half. And probably about a year ago, a young man was killed at the corner of my street.
On a bicycle?
On a bike. No, he was on a motorcycle.
Okay.
Yeah, and.
I remember that.
So I brought up to Lawrence and I said, is there any possibility of more signals on Venice Boulevard, or some way to calm traffic? We were lucky because we were spun out onto the other side. Luckily, the signal was with us and we weren't hit a second time by people, because once the signal at Lincoln changes, people just plow down that street. And we were stuck.
Yeah, we are concerned with the traffic problems over here, and across the city, there's an increase in traffic congestion, so people are raising things in the morning when there's traffic, like driving down the median, increasing speed when they have an opportunity to, so don't. 6 months from now, you guys may hate me, but I've talked to our officers about our enforcement efforts.
Awesome.
Because the 3 ways that we address traffic issues in area, education, and enforcement. One that I can control directly. So our officers will be doing more traffic enforcement. So it may sound good right now, but then like 6 months from now, if you show me your ticket and say, hey, you know, I don't want to But yeah, so we are going to be more active as far as traffic enforcement, and hopefully push those.
And is that immediately when that's
Asking about friendship.
And we've also included traffic. So we've got some of the voters coming up with us. There are a lot of traffic issues. One, what it was
3 years and you're gone. Not welcome back ever again. Punk ass fat.
I just want to add a little bit to the safety situation. I run a lot in the neighborhood, and what scares me most is those people who pull out of side streets, right into the streets, looking for traffic, not looking the other way, and not waiting at the stop sign, never at the sort of stop line, just pulling out, looking, and if I come from the wrong direction, I just
traffic issues
stop often, right? I'm not a pedestrian, I'm a runner, so I have a certain speed, right?
Traffic issues have become more complicated because of technology. We have ways pushing traffic into residential streets.
Yep.
Typically don't have. So one of our community members, he said, I'm trying to help you guys out because you can post like there's a police officer over here, so he's sitting in all the ones they slow down. But yeah, there's nothing to do with ways that you can go through that appeal process and have them, you have to notify them that this is a residential street, it's causing waste program is causing problems. But I have not heard anybody that's successful with getting rerouted. Thank you.
Can you just go over what kind of things would we call the lead officer for?
That's a good question.
Okay. So I'll give you a brief summary of what our, I guess, job function is. So we're basically community liaison. So let's say you have a neighbor, perhaps that has the music on too loud, kind of like what we discussed earlier. So you call the police, they go by, the music's off. What do you do at that point? Police officer, patrol officer has to go to the next call. Can't hang out for 2 hours and wait for them to turn it back on. So what do you do at that point?
Get Billy to hang out for 2 hours?
Officer Billy, right?
Awesome.
So we don't handle a call like patrol officers do. Like I said, we're the community liaison officers, so community complaints that are not so much crime at times, they could be quality of life. You call us, and we got the time and resources to go out there and investigate the issue or somehow work with you to resolve it. So we got a little bit more time, we got resources, we work with the council office, we work with the Department of Transportation, sanitation. We have good working relationships with a lot of city entities that could ultimately resolve that issue. So kind of a summary of like what we do and what you can call it for. I could go on and on. Excuse me?
So, can you give another example?
Traffic, right?
Okay.
So traffic issue we're talking about. So that intersection, lady was talking about, gentleman that passed away, that motorcycle accident. As a matter of fact, I was at scene that time, and you know, it was horrific to say the least. Several accidents in that specific intersection. So knowing that there's an issue, obvious. What do? Patrol officers, their duties are to respond to radio calls. Plain and simple. They're busy. You can't imagine their call load. Us as senior lead officers, we know there's an issue. We need to be problem solvers. So what do we do at that moment? We get the right entities. We get our traffic division to do enforcement. We need an engineering initiative. There has to be a light. So in the past, we've talked to our council office to try to get a survey there to get us a light installed there for safety reasons. So we're going far and beyond a little bit more, solving the problem, not just short term with enforcement, but long term, bring a solution at the back end. Kind of like our job a little bit, as opposed to your traditional patrol officer that main responsibility is go to radio calls, solve those short problems that are occurring at that moment. We're more of the long term solution. So.
Another example, I'm not sure how familiar you guys are with Westchester, Manchester, Florida. I don't know, remember a couple of years past, we were inundated with RVs on both sides of the street, all the way down. Generators running all night, people matter, you name it. And a lot of residences' rear yards is adjacent to Manchester Boulevard. So I went to a community meeting, and that was a chief concern of all the residents. So what I did is I composed a letter, wrote it to the Department of Transportation, that we need parking signs, no parking from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. You know, and like my partner said, we have the time to address those concerns. So in 6 months, I had my signs up. So that killed and resolved all our RV issues on Manchester. We have from Manchester Aviation all the way down to pretty much Lincoln.
There's got to say 10 p.m. and I think 2 a.m. Why can't we have
I'm sorry.
That's all up to the Department of Transportation. They got to figure out. There's a whole
survey system,
zoning and everything.
Yeah, survey that goes on, the amount of residents live in the area, the commercial areas, and based on that, I don't know exactly how they figured that out, but that's their recommendation.
I know that, don't I?
Manchester is a busy main street, and so I guess that is one of the reasons why they took that into consideration as far as the long-term.
So I guess you could say we're the long-term problem solvers.
Math God.
Yeah.
Math God. Preacher. Tabernacle. Demon shit.
So that's long-term solution, right? So there's a mayor's initiative, right? There's always been an issue with there's overnight housing, different parts of the city. Most of it's in downtown, so that's like homeless person looking for shelter for the night. And then there's long-term supportive housing where they learn job skills and so forth. But there's that area in between where there's it's basically a waiting list. And from my understanding, that's where we lose people that actually want the help, that want to get housed, that period in between. Are you guys familiar with a bridge housing?
I pulled the permits on it. I'm the one who made it slow down. They don't got the state permit still.
Yeah.
I don't know how they think they open it.
Well,
I guess I'm referring to like what's going on down there.
Right, David?
Right here on Rose?
Right.
Yeah, that's right.
specifically to that.
Remember I gave you copies of that.
So I'm not sure have you noticed? I have, because I drove down there since I've been back from vacation.
Not so tough.
And my encampment count went from 17 to 8.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if, our Z units which are officers that come in earlier than we do, that primarily focus on the encampment issues, they conducted 5611 enforcement. And some of our guys are probably, that live there are tired of being cited every morning and tired of being woken up in the morning at 5 a.m. to take the tents down, and to the point where they say, you know what, this is not the place for me, and they take off. I'm not sure you saw the individual who actually built a box. I cited him a few times in a row, and I made some calls to sanitation. Sanitation actually came out this morning and gave him a warning and said, you don't have it down by tomorrow, you will lose this. They're going to take it. So I saw him this morning. He was pretty, down about it, but he understood. But the point I'm saying is, we're doing our enforcements. At the same time, they have a right to be there. We can't tell them to get out of here, but they do have to keep their area clean, fold up, and put their stuff against the fence. A lot of them are complying, but some of them are kind of getting tired of being, talked to every day to the point where they're moving on.
Yeah, homelessness is a much bigger issue. The police department didn't house it, so we can't solve it by ourselves. So what we do is we utilize the tools that we can. So other than criminal record, the the tools that we do have, what Officer Bill was talking about with 5611, is we can enforce and sound between 6 and 9. We can also enforce ADA access, so people need to leave at least 36 inches on a public thoroughfare. We cannot enforce the vehicle impounds 8502. I like the 8502, but we still can enforce the field flow section, which you can have the end of the road that we were talking about.
Yeah. Alleys you can't park in, period.
Practice of letting people park in the alley, but parking partway on their.
Well, no one's really sent us emails or telling us anything. There's nothing, we don't know about it.
Okay.
We'd be more than happy to enforce it. I mean, that's another one of our jobs. Email us your problem. We're here to solve it. Or at least
for that
help
issue,
solve it.
that would be something to talk to you lead guys first.
That's perfect.
And then you could say, go to
DOT.
Now,
or go somewhere
now, if it's
else.
flat out blocking the obviously, if it's blocking the alley, just call